Hello, everyone. Today we're going to learn about early childhood impacts of hearing loss, the signs and impacts of hearing loss on a child's development. Hi, this is Heather Hall, the Kentucky School for the Deaf Outreach Consultant for the Kentucky Valley Educational Cooperative. Some facts on hearing loss in children. Did you know approximately 3 in 1,000 babies born are born with permanent hearing loss, making hearing loss one of the most common birth defects in America? And hearing loss affects about 12,000 children born in the United States each year, making it one of the most common birth defects. Children with hearing loss who begin early intervention have significantly better developmental outcomes than children who do not have that early intervention. Most children with hearing losses who receive appropriate services from trained staff are able to progress at an age-appropriate rate. And 92% of children with permanent hearing loss are born to two hearing parents, and 96% of children with permanent hearing loss are born to one parent with a hearing loss and one parent without a hearing loss. Parents usually suspect a hearing loss before a doctor does. The effects of hearing loss on development. It causes a delay in the development of receptive and expressive communication skills. That's speech and language. So basically, the words the child can say and the words the child can hear and understand. The language deficit causes learning problems that reduce academic achievement. Many of these children struggle keeping up in the classroom. Communication difficulties often lead to social isolation and poor self-concept. If you can't get your feelings and thoughts across clearly and misunderstandings occur, this can make this child feel very isolated. And it also may have an impact on the vocational choices that the child has. Impact on vocabulary. Vocabulary develops more slowly in children who have hearing loss. This is due to the fact that most children learn language by overhearing others speak. It's called incidental learning. Kids with hearing loss have a great deal of difficulty with this. Children with hearing loss learn concrete words like cat, jump, 5, red, more easily than the abstract words like before, after, equal to, and jealous. They also have difficulty with the functions of words like the, and, are, and a. These are very common in the English language. The gap between vocabulary of children with normal hearing and those with hearing loss widens with age. The children with hearing loss do not catch up without intervention. So the kids may be a little more level playing field the younger they are, but as they age and the vocabulary becomes more complex, the harder it is to keep up with their peers. Children with hearing loss have difficulty understanding words with multiple meanings as well. For example, the word bank can mean the edge of a stream or place we put money. These multiple words meaning words can often confuse children with hearing loss. Impact on the sentence structure. Children with hearing loss comprehend and produce shorter and more simplified sentences than children with normal hearing. This is because the reduction in a child's vocabulary and their ability to use those words like a, the, and, as we discussed earlier. Children with hearing loss often have difficulty understanding and writing complex sentences, such as those with relative clauses. The teacher whom I have for math was sick today, or a passive voice. The ball was thrown by Mary. These sentence structures can confuse a kid with a hearing loss who is struggling to understand the most basics of sentences. Children with hearing losses can not hear words ending such as S's or EDs. This leads to misunderstandings and misuse of verb tense, pluralization, non-agreement of subject and verb, and possessiveness. All these small, intricate things that end up making our children's sentences very simplistic and less complex than their hearing peers. Impact on speaking. Children with hearing loss often cannot hear quiet speech sounds such as the s, sh, f, t, and k. Therefore, they do not include them in their speech, thus making speech more difficult to understand when they're trying to tell you something. And children with hearing loss may not hear their own voices when they speak. They may speak too loudly or not loud enough. They may have a speaking pitch that's too high. They may sound like they're mumbling because of poor stress, poor inflection, or poor rate of speaking. These children struggle to self-monitor how they sound and to correct that for the appropriate audience which they're speaking to. Impact on academic achievement. Children with hearing losses have difficulties with all areas of academic achievement, especially when it comes to reading and mathematical concepts. Remember, these children, for the most part, are very concrete. And when you have new vocabulary or math concepts that are more abstract, it's difficult for these children. Children with a mild to moderate hearing loss, on average, achieve 1 to 4 grade levels lower than their peers with normal hearing, unless appropriate management occurs. It's very important to level the playing field as much as possible with these kids so they don't fall so far behind. Children with a severe to profound hearing loss usually achieve skills no higher than the 3rd or 4th grade level, unless appropriate educational interventions occur early. So the earlier we start on these problems and the earlier we address those issues, the better outcome for the child. The gap in academic achievement between children with normal hearing and those with hearing loss usually widens as they progress through school. As we discussed earlier, the more complex the learning, the more abstract the learning, the more difficult kids with hearing loss have in trying to understand and utilize those skills. And the level of achievement is related to parental involvement and the quality, quantity, and timing of the support services children receive. The more involved the parent is, the greater amount of interventions and support services given, the better outcome for that child. The final area we're going to address is the impact on social functioning. Children with severe to profound hearing losses can often feel isolated, not having friends, or unhappy in school, particularly when their socialization with other children with hearing loss is limited. The more time they spend with their peers who have a hearing loss, the greater chance of building those skills needed to help with socialization. These social problems appear to be more frequent in children with mild or moderate hearing losses rather than those with severe and profound loss. This is mainly because these children can talk, and people assume that they hear as well as they talk. But this may not be the case, which leads to misunderstandings between their peers, which then can lead to isolation when those peers don't want to take the time to repeat what they said, or may take a mistake and think it's funny and tease them about it. So just because it's a mild loss doesn't mean it doesn't have a huge impact. I hope you've learned something through this little presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Here's my contact information. Have a wonderful day.